Hello everybody and welcome back to Full House Sports here, myself Charlie. Before the video starts, please like, please comment and please subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated as I'll start by, or try to become a one-man sports news bandwagon. Right, some interesting developments in the rugby calendar this week. I'll talk more about some internationals preview and prediction next about what happened on Saturday and Sunday in those games because there were some really interesting takeaways I thought. But today we've had it confirmed what this Nations Championship is going to look like from World Rugby. So each team is going to play 6 fixtures. They are then going to have a finals section at, we believe, Twickenham in November to try and sort of, I guess, glamorise the autumn internationals and glamorise the summer tours as well. England's games are going to feature the likes of South Africa, Japan, New Zealand, Fiji, and a couple of others. There are other games as well. We've seen that Wales are going to play, rather unfortunately, the Springboks and the All Blacks as well, which they're probably not buzzing with, to be honest with you. And there is a whole host of different fixtures and different things to talk about. But what does it actually mean? Because I, for one, am baffled by it. I do sort of get it, and I also don't get it. I get that they've probably looked at what football have done with their Nations League and the UEFA and CONCACAF and other people that do it and go, right, we need to sort of make friendlies more appealing, although they're not termed as friendlies in rugby. But what I can't get my head around is this idea that I, for one, am a fan of summer tours. I think tours are a massive part of rugby, and I think for me the most exciting part of this is not to be any of this Nations Championship next year. For me, the most exciting rugby game next year is going to be New Zealand in South Africa. That's going to be, for me, what's going to be brilliant, because it's a throwback to the old sort of school of rugby, the amateur days, to an extent the professional days as well, but a proper old school tour. And I think that's what people are quite excited about. I don't really see the point in this, to be honest with you. There's a lot of travelling involved, which, you know, whether you like it or not, I'm not Greta Thunberg, but it's a lot of travelling for a lot of teams, which is, who's going to foot the bill for that? You know, somebody was talking about Wales. Wales are getting rid of a franchise, potentially 2 franchises, because they're skint, but they're also going to have to travel to Japan and to South Africa and to New Zealand potentially. You know, they're gonna be travelling all over the world with a lot of support staff and a squad, yet their unions are supposedly skint. So how is that going to be afforded? There's also, I think, the talk of, you know, what does this do for tier 2 nations? Because it doesn't really do a lot. It isolates them an awful lot. And I think we are at a point in rugby where some of these tier 2 nations are starting to stick their hands up and go, no, actually, we deserve to have a seat at the table. And I'm an advocate of that as well. I said on the other day in my video that I think it's important we grow the game of rugby and don't just sort of close off. Where we're living now, where we're looking at sports like rugby league and cricket and, you know, football anyway is a bad example, but other sports like those two are forever expanding and forever looking at new frontiers to conquer. And it feels like with this, rugby union's sort of cutting it off and closing it off and going, no, we're just tier 1. And I also think as well, it seems like a bit of a World Cup, but not a World Cup. You know, we already have a World Cup in rugby. Did we really need this? Was anyone calling for this? You know, I know people have said, yeah, but it's to try and make things like the autumn internationals relevant, but for me, they're relevant anyway. You know, I still get excited about the different games. And I still think that touring is a massive part of rugby and should be treated as such. Cannot fathom why this has been done. There seems to be a lot of short-sightedness about this, and you know, we're coming up to World Cup, an expanded World Cup in 2027. Well, a lot of tier 2 nations won't have had access to playing the tier 1 nations if this goes ahead. There's a lot more questions than answers to this, I think. A lot more. There's still question marks over where, for example, Fiji are going to play their games. I think there's talk that it'll be South Africa or Twickenham. I think it's bonkers that Japan are still considered Southern Hemisphere. They're not. They're Northern Hemisphere. Everyone knows that, but I get why they are. And I cannot. I don't know. I can't quite get my head around it. But the fixture has been announced, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. We'll see whether it brings a more competitive edge. I don't know. You can easily hate on these new ideas. They might turn out to be fantastic, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Anyways, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated. Thank you.